Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're cracking open Borderlands 4. We're gonna walk through the main story from start to finish, pointing out plot holes, inconsistencies, and just general mistakes along the way. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. The game opened 6 years after the Moonfall event from Borderlands 3. This event tore open the planet's protective veil, which apparently no one noticed until now. The moment you spawn, the Timekeeper's army tags you with a cybernetic bolt in your neck. Congratulations, you're now a mind-controlled protagonist before you even get to really play the game. Now, this brings me to the first problem. How does the Order have instantaneous tracking of on- and off-world Vault Hunters? The game ends up never saying, and it just goes as a mystery, I guess. You ended up getting busted out by a few of your fellow Vault Hunters. They're basically this game's Crimson Raiders, only fewer jokes and more cyberpunk eye implants. Oh, and Claptrap is here too. Surviving, not leading, still spouts lines that somehow survived Gearbox's darker tone memo. This brings me to Act 1, and it's all about weakening the Timekeeper by stealing his lieutenant's command bolts. These are essentially DRM keys for all of his vaults. The first target, an isolator soul in the Fade Fields. I totally said that wrong, but it's okay. You infiltrate, blow up the vats, kill Soul, and then get your first command bolt. Now, this brings me to the second problem I've noticed, is the biotech is kind of inconsistent. Soul's entire fortress runs on it, yet you just pluck it out like a USB stick and walk off. There's no alarms, no fail-safes, and it doesn't make that much sense, to be honest. So, next, you're sent to help the exiled nobles called the Electi, led by Levain. Their enemy is Callus, a bandit queen who removed her own bolt and went fully mad. You partner with Zane to corner Callus, and she ends up stealing her bolt back mid-mission. Somehow, it's still synced to her body, and you have to fight her twice. But finally, you down her and pocket bolt number 2. This brings me to my third problem. The game never clarifies how someone can remove a mind bolt, but it still has power. I know this is a tiny critique and it doesn't really matter, but it does kind of take out of the world's environment in a way. I mean, is it a charm, a horcrux? It's hard to tell. Again, I know it is a tiny issue, but I gotta point out everything. That is the title of the video, after all. Before the third lieutenant, you meet the Augurs, a local section led by the Defant Calder, Zadra, and an ex-Order scientist defects to your team. This is where Phase Dimension kicks in. Borderline magic, borderline quantum realm. NPCs start glitching, zones warp. You get one-off mechanics that end up never showing up again. And you finally track down Vile Lictor to a lab where Lilith is rumored to be held. It turns out she's trapped in the phase, and Vile Lictor has been experimenting on sirens. Using Ellipsis's core, you open a phase portal, yank Lilith out, and because it's Borderlands, fight Callus again. Teleport back to the surface, and bolt number 3 is finally in hand. Now, the Phase Dimensions rules are a narrative that feels kind of like a free-for-all. You can teleport, you can resurrect someone, but it never talks about any of the consequences that can come along with that. And I feel like that's kind of a missed opportunity there. Now, with all 3 bolts, you reprogram them with Zadra's help to unlock the vault. The mission is to assault the Dominion City, Timekeeper's capital. Then, the Timekeeper springs his trap. Through the bolts, he forces you to kill Zadra. It's dark, sudden, and honestly, underwritten. We've maybe had 2 cutscenes bonding with her. It doesn't feel like there's any real emotional weight behind it, and the writing could have been done much better. For instance, every death in Red Dead Redemption. And another problem I've found is if the Timekeeper can override your actions anytime through the bolt, why did he let you kill his lieutenants in the first place? He's either the most patient villain ever, or the devs just needed a third act and just said, screw it, it'll work fine, they won't notice. This brings me to the final boss, the Timekeeper. Inside the Dominion City Spire, you confront the big man himself. Plot twist though, he's not just a cyber tyrant, but a Vault Guardian tasked to maintain cosmic order. His monologue is basically, I was just following orders, which might work if we knew who gave them to him. But of course, you never find that out. You smash his artifact, fight a multi-phase boss battle, which time rewind gimmicks, cool mechanically but never explained narratively, end his reign. This brings me to problem 6-ish. The boss's fight mechanics contradict earlier lore. If the Timekeeper can rewind time, why didn't he just stop you from taking the bolts in the first place? The fight is absolutely great, but the logic, not so much. Finally, you open the bolt. Instead of treasure, it's RJ, your rescuer, now a tortured artificial siren. He blames Lilith for bringing Ellipse, which led to his suffering. You're forced to kill him. It's tragic, but also, of course, underdeveloped. His heel turn gets about 5 minutes of setup in a 30-hour campaign. Then you meet a future Lilith who warns the universe's ending and hands you a mysterious artifact named the Diodin. Roll credits, cliffhanger achieved, of course, because you always gotta leave room for that next and final game. Which leads me to my 7th-ish problem. Cliffhangers are fine, but this one robs the victory of weight. You just toppled a planet-wide dictatorship, and the game basically says, the universe is still doomed, see you in the DLC, and I feel like that takes away the meaning. It's nice for a game to have a ending, because an ending gives everything meaning. Without end, there is no means to a purpose, and it's just sad. Now, some technical issues. The game runs on Unreal Engine 5. The world design is gorgeous, but the tone sometimes zigzags between grim oppression and neon carnival. Loot scaling undermines dramatic boss fights. You can melt Vile Lictor in seconds if RNG smiles on you. Now, Gearbox said they wanted a more serious villain. They got one, but then they stuffed him in a familiar Borderlands humor. The result is a tonal whiplash. Performance bugs at launch didn't help either. Frame drops, quest triggers failing, loot chests spawning empty. I've never understood why companies release the game in bad quality just to meet a deadline. Push the deadline back, make the game genuinely good, and I swear to you, everyone will enjoy it more that way rather than a rushed bad product. Even with all of these problems pointed out, it is still an ambitious entry with great set pieces and some wild ideas. If you've ended up spotting a hole or bug that I didn't mention, make sure to drop it in the comments. And if you like walking through games chronologically to see where the logic fails, subscribe and ring that bell for more videos. And who knows, next up, maybe I'll do everything wrong with this game's DLC. Thanks for watching. Borderlands may mess with time, but I promise our next video won't mess with yours. Signing out.